BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your pro and college football betting needs and sports info this season. Find all the latest football league developments, game matchups, news, and podcasts, including this year's opening week's games. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your sports and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Live from multiple locations via the miracle of Skype, it's the LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing. Co-host, Ed Kaluka. Featuring dangerous Dan Margetta. And Brian Schmidt. LTN is a caller-driven program, and your participation is encouraged by calling 414-421-7901. That's 414-421-7901. Now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
You know, is it only me, or did this summer just kind of whip right by? I think we think that every year at Labor Day, don't we? Happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. Todd Bailing, Greendale, Wisconsin, joined by my three partners, beginning with Ed Kaluka of West Bend, Wisconsin. Hi, Ed.
Good morning, Todd. I'll try to talk more clearly today.
Oh, nice. Dan Margetta of St. Francis, Wisconsin, but that's only for mail purposes. Dan, he has a different address every day over the weekend, usually. Where have you been and where are you going?
Well, we were at the Dells Raceway Park last night. We'll be at Slinger tonight, probably Golden Sands tomorrow. So three-day weekend, three good races ahead. And yeah, Labor Day does come by fast. It seems every year it seems it goes quicker and quicker. But Labor Day can only mean one thing, and that's a Southern 500. And I love Darlington, man. That's one of my favorite tracks on the circuit. I think it produces good races, and this should be a good event tonight.
And Brian Schmidt of Oostburg, Wisconsin. Morning, Brian.
Morning. Hard to believe, but the playoffs are here already. We're down to the final 10 weeks of the season, and it starts tonight at Darlington. I keep forgetting that the playoffs are moved up now the last couple of years. Usually you have a couple weeks before the playoffs actually get started, but tonight's the night.
And we have four newbies in the playoffs: Cindric, Briscoe, Chastain, and Suarez, all there for the first time. Suarez isn't exactly getting off to a very good start. His car failed inspection 3 times, was not allowed to qualify, was not allowed to get a pit stall selection, gets whatever's left after everybody else picks, and does have to do a pass-through penalty on the first lap. But, you know, you're already starting at the back. I don't really know what that proves. Yeah, does it mean you actually lose a lap on a 1.3-mile track? It probably does, but he'll be, of course, the first car to get his lap back on the lucky dog. And, probably the worst penalty of the whole bunch is that his car chief, Eddie DeHaan, was ejected, and somebody else will have to take over that spot. Other than that, I don't know that it's going to really affect Suarez. In fact, after they told all the penalties that he had coming to him, he said, I think I'm going to win the race. So there you go. Yeah.
At this racetrack being as fast as it is, normally by the first break, we have at least 7 to 8 cars down a lap.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? 1 point.
So he'll have a hard time unless he gets an early yellow to get a lap back.
True. But there are lots of yellows at this race. It's a long race. The segments are at lap 115 and lap 230. And then, of course, it's a 367 lap race. It's a long race. And if we have even a normal amount of cautions, this is going to be 4 hours plus. It's on USA Network. The green flag is at 5:19. So we're looking at like probably 10 o'clock before it's over with. Coverage starts right here on the Big 920 at 4 p.m. today. But all in all, Joey Logano won the pole, 168.521 miles per hour. He's one of the guys today. He's one of the guys, not just for the race today, but he probably is one of the guys to win the championship, to win his second championship. And we've never really got into predicting who we think is going to be the champion. I guess we should probably pretty much agree that the 9 car, I mean, Elliott probably is going to be your Vegas favorite, wouldn't you think?
Probably. He's got the most playoff points, and that always seems to propel guys farther. 2 years ago, Harvick did, and it didn't work. He didn't get to the Final Four, but generally, the guy with the most playoff points moves right along, and if they can avoid a lot of bad luck, they'll be in a good position, and Chase Elliott's really good at Phoenix, so the key for him is getting to the Final Four.
And we would like to hear your take on anything going on in the world of NASCAR. You can call us at any time for any reason on this program at 414-421-7901 and tell us what you think about what's been happening. Of course, the playoffs were set on the rain-delayed Daytona race. It was supposed to be last Saturday night. It ended up Sunday afternoon. Austin Dillon, of all people, won the race after his teammate Ty Reddick threw a pretty nice block for him at the end of the race to make sure that Childress had 2 cars go to the playoffs. That's a pretty significant thing to happen for Childress. Childress is also right now not just celebrating the fact that his grandson made it into the playoffs, but they're working on getting Kyle Busch. And I think he is probably one of the more legitimate possibilities for Kyle Busch. And that's another whole story completely. Where's Kyle Busch going to end up? What are all the nuances that go with it? It's not just, sponsor. Do they have a sponsor at Childress? I'm not sure that they do. If they do, is it enough to pay Kyle Busch the money that he is accustomed to being paid? I'm positive that it's not, But these are all things that go in on the negotiation. Kyle is, and I suppose you guys have seen this, that Kyle is saying that he's had plenty of offers, and including the possibility that he's going to end up right back in the same car that he's talking about leaving, the 18 car. But that's just part of what is making this negotiation interesting.
Back to Daytona, I
yes,
found it very interesting to see that Blaney made it in by 3 points over Truex.
3 points. And Ed, I mean, people have to remember, Blaney can win the championship now that he's in the playoffs, but Penske cannot win, at least not with the 12 car, cannot win the championship. Penske, the most he can get is 17th place because that car did not qualify ahead of the 45 car. And the drama, the politics, the made-for-television drama that has come out of all of that, because now Bubba Wallace, they figured out a way to make him relevant for the playoffs. They put him in the 45 car since he's not in the top 16. However, they will have a shot at an owner's championship, and they put Bubba Wallace in the 45 and took Ty Gibbs and moved him over to the 23 car. Now, realistically, what does any of that mean? All they're doing is taking a 45 off the door and putting number 23 on it. Nothing is going to change. The cars aren't going to change. The crews aren't going to change. The sponsors, maybe the sponsors are going to change. That's a very good possibility. They want to make sure that Wallace has the same, McDonald's is shown prolifically and all that other stuff, the drama. All it is a sticker on the door, but we got to try and win the car owners championship for Michael Jordan and for Denny Hamlin. So that's what that's all about.
Well, Dan, couldn't Blaney do the same thing?
I wondered. I mean, on Penske's side, could they do the same kind of issue? If the 12 car can only finish 17th at best in the car owners championship, but the other ones have a shot at the owners championship, could you look at your drivers? I mean, could you put Blaney in 2 and maybe Cindric in the 12? I mean, I think I'd rather take Blaney over Cindric, and it's just my opinion. I don't realize.
But Cindric has a shot at a championship with his team.
Yeah, so does Blaney. But not the one. I mean, we're looking at owners and money in dollars and cents. I mean, could you do the same thing?
Yeah, who's got a better shot, Dan?
I wonder. I mean, Cindric is okay. He's a rookie. I mean, he won the Daytona 500, which is kind of a crapshoot anyways.
But hasn't done much since.
Right.
No, right.
Yeah.
I just wonder how did that conversation go with Monster Energy and Denny Hamlin's team there, because you basically took Monster Energy out of the playoffs now by moving those cars around.
Yeah, that's a good
Ty Gibbs
point.
is the
That's a good
sponsorship
point.
of it, and it just, to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially given Ty Gibbs' statue and how well he's done in all these other cars, to just write him off.
If you were a car owner, who would you rather have driving your car? Ty Gibbs or Bubba Wallace? Think about it. We'll be right back.
The Aaron's Art on Wheels Vintage Weekend returns to Wisconsin's Road America and Elkhart Lake, September 16th through the 18th. This vintage race draws more than 300 vintage and historic race cars across 11 groups to run over this 3-day event. This year will also feature the women of motorsports. Make it an outdoor family weekend with camping on site. Children under 16 get in free with paying adult. Get your tickets now at roadamerica.com. Road America, America's National Park of Speed.
The season finale at the Fair Park in Plymouth is coming on Saturday, September 24th. The annual Sprintacular features a high-powered IRA 410 sprint cars, the Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA 360s, the Wingless Sprints, and the Lightning Sprints. 4 divisions of sprint cars in one action-packed night of racing. That is the September Sprintacular, Saturday, September 24th at the Fair Park in Plymouth. On-track action at 5 o'clock. We'll see you there.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at wagnerautomotive.com. The summer heat is on, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
This is The Herd.
Attention listeners.
With Colin Cowherd.
Well, Sammy Watkins came out yesterday. Said Mahomes is, he's fine. But Aaron, different level. But most would take Mahomes. But let's slow down on, he's not on Aaron's level. Come on. This sport's about January. That's what this sport is.
This is The Herd.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Well, let's talk about that 800-pound gorilla sitting in the corner, Daytona last week. Do you realize that only 5 out of the 37 cars that started the race last week had no damage? Why is it that we can't think of a format that would not include crashing cars? That is 86.5% of the cars in that race crashed. And I assume that what we really want is for cars to be so closely matched that they can't stretch out and make a stinky race. They have to all be on top of each other. And if you make the slightest movement. I can't be mad at anybody for moves they made during that race that caused a crash. NASCAR was the biggest culprit of all for causing a crash last week by not calling a caution when turn one was wet. What exactly happened there, Dan?
It was raining in turn one pretty hard, and he went barreling in there at 180 or 190 miles an hour, and obviously
don't they have spotters all the way around the track?
That's a bad call. You can't have that happen. You can't have something affect your race that hard. That nobody did anything wrong. They all went in that corner and they all just spun because it was so wet. And there is some video out there from fans in the stands that said they had at least 45 seconds of people knew it was raining in turn one, and the cars were exiting turn two, so you had time to throw that yellow. I don't know why they didn't have a spotter there or why they didn't have something. I realize everybody wants to see the race and nobody wants to see a rain delay. We were rained out the night before and everything else, but you got to take the fan out of you if you're in that position to make calls, and you have to do what's right sometimes, safety wise and everything else. And you can't let them charge into a corner when it's wet and they all wreck. Those drivers depend on you to make that decision and not put them in that spot, and they messed that one up.
They claim the pace car driver is the turn one spotter, but I don't think he's all the way into that corner. If you've ever been to Daytona, where the pace car sits, which is past the pit road exit, and where turn one is a pretty significant distance. And they claim that the pace car spotter there didn't have anything on his windshield, so he didn't call it. And as soon as the wreck happened, then he had it on his windshield. Well, that shows the distance and time it takes for that storm to come that way. But if you have eyes that are open, you can see that massive cloud. You could see it on the TV, that massive cloud with all the streaks coming out of it, coming right towards the track. So you knew it was just going to be a matter of time.
Let's keep our eyes open here. It could get important here,
Or send somebody outside around the track to the outside of turn 1 and 2 and let us know when it's raining over there or something.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ed.
I think they learned their lesson, because yesterday, the first couple of sprinkles for the Xfinity race, they went yellow immediately.
Yeah.
And then red.
I know one guy that was happy with that decision, and that's the guy that made the parlay bet on the four worst cars in the field to finish in the top 10. His $13 bet paid off $999,000. They made that guy happy with that call.
Yeah, there you go. That's Margetta kind of luck right there. Here's what Denny Hamlin had to say, who apparently is not afraid to have his mouth open. It seems like Hamlin and probably Kevin Harvick are the two that are not afraid. Here's what Hamlin said. He said, maybe we should be more proactive instead of reactive. If we all wait until the track gets wet, isn't it already too late? You can't hold off because of the threat of rain, but when you see it, we should probably stop. Yeah. Nobody else even said that. Nobody is, you don't want to be saying naughty things that make NASCAR mad,
And when NASCAR screwed up, they wanted to make damn sure that race went back under green to cover up the mistake that would have really been huge.
Oh yeah.
If they would call the race. So they were going to wait till tomorrow if they had to run those last 30 laps.
Yeah, I agree completely. By the way, Ed mentioned yesterday the Xfinity race at Darlington. Noah Gragson won it. If you haven't seen the end of that thing, it was about as wild as you could possibly get the last couple of laps. You had Sheldon Creed, who was in position to win I think that would have been his first Xfinity race, right?
Yes.
And Kyle Larson, who due to circumstances did you say he was 3 laps down, Brian?
2 laps down.
I think it's 3 after the flat tire, because then he came in and had a yellow, he got to 2, then he kind of took him a while to get, but the whole lucky dog situation, he got right back on. I think he was about just 3 laps down.
Imagine that, and he's in it for the win, running up against the wall. There's part of it is blocking, part of it is mirror driving, part of it is running the fastest line you possibly can. Kyle Larson loves running against that wall, and it's so cool to watch him running up there. But Gragson trying to win, Creed trying to win, and Creed, I mean to tell you, he got up in the wall. He got put in the wall, really, by Kyle Larson, but he never lifted. There's sparks, and it seems to me there were flames. It must be just the way I was picturing.
Well, he had a flat tire.
Oh my God. And he never lifted. He left it to the floor to try to win the thing. Noah Gragson passed that mess and got by Creed right at the end. Kyle Larson actually slipped back to 5th place at the end. But what a crazy finish that was, and fun to look at. If you missed it, you're going to want to look it up. Check it out on YouTube or wherever you can watch replays of the finish of yesterday's Xfinity race. Highly, highly recommended. Today's race at Darlington is sold out. You know, the sellouts the fans are coming back. It's great. The ratings are going up. Things are looking up for NASCAR. The good news is I believe it's all due to the new race car that they have made. But the bad news about that new race car is our friend Kurt Busch. He's still out. We don't know if he's ever going to come back. Drivers are saying some pretty crazy things about hitting the wall. Dan, NASCAR is getting a little defensive about that, aren't they?
Well, they came out and said that they blame that on hitting at higher speeds and different angles in the past, and some of the drivers buy that. And, I mean, there was a thing online somebody put up. Do you remember Michael McDowell's crash at Texas some years ago?
Oh yeah,
qualifying.
Wow. Yes.
I was at that race, but I wasn't at qualifying.
I mean, he hit the wall, he said, at 187 miles an hour and 900 horsepower on the car and no injuries at all. He raced like the next day. Kurt Busch hit the wall about 100 to 120 miles per hour with 670 horsepower and has been out since. And so that speed and angles it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
It's Kevin Harvick said it's like hitting a brick wall without the safety barrier.
It's crazy. That car snapped pretty hard when it hit the wall. Looked crazy. We'll be back.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
The season finale at the Fair Park in Plymouth is coming on Saturday, September 24th. The annual Sprintacular features a high-powered IRA 410 sprint cars, the Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA 360s, the Wingless Sprints, and the Lightning Sprints. 4 divisions of sprint cars in one action-packed night of racing. That is the September Sprintacular, Saturday, September 24th at the Fair Park in Plymouth. On-track action at 5 o'clock. We'll see you there.
This is The Herd.
Attention listeners.
With Colin Cowherd.
It's over for Jordan Love in the preseason. These are the numbers: 3 touchdowns, 4 picks, 55% completion rate, and a 64 passer rating. Matt LaFleur once again. You know, I like what I saw. If there was a movie about Jordan Love, it would be titled, "That Interception Was Not His Fault." Can you stop selling me on it?
This is The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back to LTN. Todd Bailing, Ed Kluka, Dan Margetta, Brian Schmidt, all at various locations around the state of Wisconsin. Jeremy Clements, wasn't that a wonderful story when he was the first car to cross the finish line after everybody wrecked at Daytona last week in the Xfinity race, and celebrating the fact that he was going to be in the playoffs, and the perfect story, David versus Goliath, and this is so wonderful. Well, it turns out he was cheating. L2 penalty, which is about as bad as it gets. Ed, what did they catch him doing?
Well, the problem there was they altered the plenum floor, which when you take the carburetor off, you look down, that floor is what's called the plenum floor, and they've altered the height of that, and that's illegal.
Now, they're trying to, the argument is that it didn't give them a competitive advantage. Come on! Why did you do it if it didn't give you a competitive advantage? Although they never really thought they were going to win the race. Nobody thought they were going to win the race, but they won the race because everybody else crashed out. So you had to know when you're thanking your sponsors that you got an engine in there that's, it's a small team. Everybody knows what's going on there. The driver can't even say, Jesus, that isn't my department.
What was obviously it's a measurement problem. How close were they for being okay? And is it something they did, or is it something that came, they bolted on the car and it wasn't exactly right at all? I don't know the whole specifics behind it. I know they're appealing it, but did they just get this manifold from somewhere and put it on the car and realize that it's 1/32 of an inch? What was the discrepancy? Was it a big deal or was it close?
$60,000 fine, 75 driver and owner points, 10 playoff points, penalty related to a failed intake manifold inspection that falls under blah blah with section, and the penalty in the section case states the intake manifold must conform to NASCAR templates, gauges, scales, fixtures, and any and all other measuring devices. The details were related to the opening and the floor of the intake manifold plenum. So
right. What was the discrepancy? We don't know how far off.
We don't really know how far off it was.
Yeah. And that could be decided in the appeal. If it's something that's super, super close and you get it from, I don't know where you get your intake manifold from. I don't know who does that. I don't think they make their own.
Right.
On the car, is that something you wouldn't even know? I don't know. Now, the interesting thing is they get to keep the win. Remember, was it Pocono when the Gibbs cars had a piece of tape and they took the win away because they found that at the track. They found this in the R&D center. So I guess if you get caught in the R&D center, you still keep your win.
I don't know what the depth of the plenum has to be, but the team says that the depth of the plenum was less than the required 4 inches. So that means what they're saying is it isn't going to give them a competitive advantage, which NASCAR, they don't buy into that, that didn't give us an advantage. So therefore we did it and then we should be able to get away with it. Nah, that's not really how it works, right? We don't do it that way. So
it could have been worth as much as 7 horsepower.
Is that, as close together as those cars are, Ed, 7 horsepower might be a kind of a big deal at a place like Daytona, right?
Anywhere.
Oh, okay.
And turn the alternator on. If you turn the alternator off, you get another 7 or 8 horsepower. That's why I always hear them talk about turning the switch on and turning the switch off, because they run the alternator or they can turn the alternator off. It's like a passing deal for Indy cars. You turn the alternator off, you pick up that extra horsepower.
Okay.
And I just look at that team. It's such a small team. There's 4 full-time employees tops at that place. I don't think they have an R&D section that how we can skirt the rules with our intake, man.
No.
And a $60,000 fine for their crew chief. The poor guy probably doesn't make that in a year there. Those fines, the way NASCAR issues those are for the big teams. Like you issue that to Hendrick or Gibbs, they'll just absorb that. But to issue that type of a penalty to this team, that could end them. They don't. Their main job
before, Dan, didn't it? Carl Long's team and Cup.
Yes.
Didn't they get a penalty that was so big they couldn't pay it and they just stopped racing?
Yeah, it was like $100,000 or something. It was an engine that they borrowed from, was it Elliott's or something? Somebody else, a different engine in the car. It didn't conform. It was in the Winston or something like that, or the Open or something like that.
Now, the only thing I'll add is Clements, unlike a lot of these other teams, Clements builds their own engines. That's their business. Besides running in the Xfinity Series, they build race engines. If you go to a dirt late model race or a bigger modified race across the country, Clements House of Power is the main engine builder for darn near half of the field. So they know their engines, but that's a bolt-on part. It's not an actual engine part.
Yeah,
so
put that dirt late model engine in the car. We'll fly at Daytona.
Yeah, right.
Yes, it is an actual engine part. The manifold is one of the main parts of the engine.
Oh, there you go. Maybe they knew what they were doing then.
Of course they did.
But they didn't think they were going to win.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Or get caught.
Yeah, they want to look good while they're out there, but
I'm Sawyer. And I'm Shannon. Together, we're Twin Stunts, the only twin motorcycle freestyle show in the world. We are born and raised in Wisconsin, so we want all our fellow cheeseheads to know that even though we clutch it up, hit 12, and drift in our show, we would never do it on the open road. And there's another thing we would never do on the road. Drive drunk. Drive sober or get pulled over. Together, we can save lives. Learn more at zeroinwisconsin.gov. Wisconsin DOT.
Put industry leading, difference making, and tomorrow shaping on your to-do list. Explore Deloitte Technology Careers at Deloitte.com/tech careers and engineer your future at Deloitte.
we know that there's enough crashes where a guy, even Jeremy Clements, could win the race. That's what Daytona is like, and that's what it's come down to, wasn't it? Almost a joke last week. But Austin Dillon managed to hang on and make the play. And what happens? His crew chief afterwards announces that this is going to be it, and he's leaving at the end of this year. He's been there for many years with 6 different drivers at Childress, and Justin Alexander, the crew chief for Austin Dillon, announced this is his last year over there. So I don't know what's going on over at Childress, and what exactly would Kyle Busch be getting himself into if he decided to go over there? We'll be back.
The Aaron's Art on Wheels Vintage Weekend returns to Wisconsin's Road America and Elkhart Lake September 16th through the 18th. This vintage race draws more than 300 vintage and historic race cars across 11 groups to run over this 3-day event. This year will also feature the women of motorsports. Make it an outdoor family weekend with camping on site. Children under 16 get in free with paying adult. Get your tickets now at roadamerica.com. Road America, America's National Park of Speed.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
The season finale at the Fair Park in Plymouth is coming on Saturday, September 24th. The annual Sprintacular features a high-powered IRA 410 sprint cars, the Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA 360s, the Wingless Sprints, and the Lightning Sprints. 4 divisions of sprint cars in one action-packed night of racing. That is the September Sprintacular, Saturday, September 24th at the Fair Park in Plymouth. On-track action at 5 o'clock. We'll see you there.
Fly your team flag.
Down he goes, another sack.
Cue up, jump around, and rep your Cardinal and White Bucky gear.
He's gone all the way.
It's Badger football.
Touchdown, Wisconsin.
Let's go.
6 more on the board for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Join us Saturday. The Badgers host Washington State at Camp Randall.
We kick off the coverage with Badgers Game Day at 10:30 on Milwaukee's home for your Wisconsin Badgers, the Big 920, and your iHeartRadio app.
.367 laps at Darlington. Green flag is at 5:19 this afternoon. Highs are expected in the upper 80s during the day, 70s at night. There is a 20% chance of rain in the greater metropolitan Darlington area. They will be using 13 sets of tires. Good God. And a fuel run should be between 68 and 74 laps tonight. An interesting night race for sure. NASCAR changed one of its policies this week. NASCAR changing the rules is not a big deal. It's kind of interesting that they're changing it going into the playoffs. If you'll recall, they had this damaged vehicle policy. When you pulled a car into the pits, was it the pits or working on it at all that you had? Was it off the track or on the track that this 6-minute rule?
Not if it was you're deemed in an accident if you had damage on the track. If you were part of an accident, you know they figure out you're the cars that are part of the accident. You guys are on the clock.
Okay, and
if you go behind the wall, you cannot fix damage, but you can fix mechanical. In other words, if you broke an axle or need a rear end, you can go into the garage, change it, and come back out and race. But if you go back there to do body work, you can't.
Now, the tow link, Ed, which I can't say I really know much about, that's what this whole thing is supposedly about, because they changed the policy from 6 minutes to 10 minutes. And it's been thought by, well, specifically by Drew Blickensderfer, who said this, that he thinks that the whole rule was changed because that's how long it takes to change a tow link. You can't do it in 6 minutes. You can do it in 10 minutes. And it's becoming more and more prevalent with the new body, with the new car.
Well, it's not the new body. It's the rack and pinion steering.
Oh, okay.
The rack and pinion steering was different than the old style steering. It was easier to change what they call a tow link. The reason it's called a tow link is there's a sleeve that you adjust in and out of for adjusting a tow, the angle of the front tire in or out for the tow in and out. And it's hard to change that at the rack side. So it's harder to get at the rack side to change it.
Oh, because of the rack and pinion steering. So it's become more of an issue than it ever was.
Right.
Okay. And it takes longer than they expected. So now they're going to give them 10 minutes, which is kind of a big deal going into the playoffs, don't you think?
Not really. Not really. It's just that it takes a little bit longer to change that because of the rack and pinion steering.
So old Drew Blickensderfer probably is right that that's what this whole thing was about, right? Because we're hearing more and more of this tow link issue. So interesting. We told you last week that the director of competition for JR Motorsports, which was Ryan Pemberton, was going to he just quit. He up and quit for some reason, and they named someone from inside the organization. Mike Bumgarner is the new director of competition for JR Motorsports. I don't really know the name. I suppose, Dan, you're the guy that would be able to tell me. He was obviously somebody from in-house, right?
Yeah, I guess it doesn't off the top of my head. It doesn't.
Okay.
Really,
yeah. Well, and how important is that? It's not even a cup team, even though they have designs. They would like to become a cup team in the future. So exactly what this means and how big of a deal it is, I'm not sure. That's just what we'll have to deal with. The purse for today's race, $7.8 million as compared to yesterday's Xfinity purse at $1.2 million. This is why guys want to be cup drivers, right? So you can have houses like that big fancy Ricky Stenhouse mansion that was valued at $16 million for a guy that's won, 2 races in his career in the Cup Series? Found a way to stay in the series, and that's because of how fantastic it pays to be a cup driver. You want to be in the elite, the top 36 drivers in the United States of America in a stock car, well, then you get paid for it accordingly. That's for sure.
Well, and that's when those guys were making $10, $12, $15 million a year. Those days, as we've discussed before, are pretty much over. You still can make a good living off of it. Let's face it, $1 million a year is still nothing to sneeze at, but the days of the massive contracts like that, I think, are over. So I don't think you're going to be seeing a lot of construction projects for these new cup drivers where they're building massive mansions anymore.
Kyle Busch isn't going to make what he used to make, but you still do pretty good.
Yes.
But
it's about base salary and about getting paid to race. When you get paid after each race for the purse that you raced for, that's where they make their money, right? I mean, aren't they making like $600,000 base salary, and then they're making all this money?
So everybody's got a different structure. I mean, some are, some aren't, and that's where when Kyle's looking around, he wants a higher base salary because he thinks he's got the credentials to bring it. He's got 2 championships. He's pretty much one of the best guys out there. I think he thinks he deserves it. And be curious where he lines up. If he stays with Gibbs, you mentioned Childers. I'm not sure that's a huge way. I mean, is the 41 still out there? I don't know. Colleague seems to really step up. I mean, if he's going to go somewhere, he may end up there. I mean, a lot of people seem to think that that's where he's going to end up.
It's all about drawing and attracting a sponsor for the guy, not just so he can get paid. That's not even I don't even know how big of an issue that is compared to the money that they can bring to keep a team on the track from week to week, and to have enough money to buy a charter, because that's another whole deal completely. Otherwise, don't you think that Kyle Busch would want to stay with Toyota? Brian, I think it's a kind of a big deal that he stays with Toyota.
Yeah, I mean, his entire operation besides his Cup team is around the Toyota deal. His Kyle Busch KBM Motorsports, which has obviously the truck series, it's got an ARCA team. It used to have a super late model team. I don't think he has that anymore. But that's all a part of Toyota research and development, their system of bringing up drivers, and that's his entire pipeline. Now, Chevy and Ford don't quite have that same pipeline. So if he were to move out of the Toyota camp, that would change everything below him also. So that's a lot of work, So I think unless the money, if the money's right, obviously he'll leave. But if all things are being equal and the money is going to be similar, I think he's going to stay with Toyota so that all the rest of that
I think he's staying at Gibbs. I know he's talking to Colleague and he's talking to Childress, but are you doing yourself any favors getting away from Gibbs? Take the pay cut and stay where you are. It seems like that's where we're headed. Doesn't it seem that way to you?
Sure seems like it. It's just a matter of does Gibbs have a sponsor for that car? Is there a company out there that's going to be willing to put their name behind Kyle Busch? And you know how these companies are. A lot of these companies and a lot of these people that do the advertising for these companies don't look at results on the racetrack, which is unfortunate, but that's just the fact of it. And they look at the guy, and if they don't like what Kyle Busch says, they're not going to sponsor him. He could win every race in the season, and if he doesn't say the right things, he won't get the money. But then you got a guy like Eric Almirola that doesn't win at all, and you got companies that love him. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But
it does not.
The reality of it.
Not. But that's what we're facing right now, unbelievably. And and remember, Interstate Batteries is a 3-race per year deal. Yes, they're like the longest running sponsor-owner relationship there is, but there's not enough money there to base a whole season on it. We'll be back.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
The Aaron's Art on Wheels Vintage Weekend returns to Wisconsin's Road America and Elkhart Lake September 16th through the 18th. This vintage race draws more than 300 vintage and historic race cars across 11 groups to run over this 3-day event. This year will also feature the women of motorsports. Make it an outdoor family weekend with camping on site. Children under 16 get in free with paying adult. Get your tickets now at roadamerica.com. Road America, America's National Park of Speed.
The summer heat is on, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800. Or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
The NASCAR Cup Series.
Green flag goes in the air, and the Cookout Southern 500 is underway.
2022 playoffs gets underway.
Here come the leaders up the back straightaway. Look out further back. One car in the outside wall. It's Kyle Busch.
At Darlington Raceway for one of the sport's crown jewels.
Racing back to the checkered flag. Kyle Larson there. Not enough.
It's the Cookout Southern 500.
Sunday afternoon. Coverage starts at 4 on the Big 920.
And now the LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
Yes, the Labor Day weekend begins this special season for dirt track racing across the country, especially here in the Midwest as the tracks start to wind down. We'll start Thursday night up in Proctor, Minnesota, one of the Wissota Crown Jewel events, the Silver 1000. I don't know what the 1000 actually means because it pays a little more than that these days, but it's 6,000 to win for the Wissota late models, and Jimmy Mars picked up the win there. In Alger, Washington, the Skagit Speedway for the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series was there. Logan Schuchart was your winner Thursday night. Friday night at Chilton, Gravity Park Speedway in the Modifieds, it was Steve Schneider. Stock Cars, Eric Arneson. In the Grand Nationals was TJ Smith. Beaver Dam at the Dodge County Fairgrounds Half Mile. They ran there for the first time in 2 years. Last year's events were rained out. The Harry Neitzel Memorial for the IRA 410 Sprint Cars. Scotty Thiel was your feature winner there. And the MSA 360 Sprints was Travis Aarons, and the Modifieds was Dan Radel. Fountain City, Wisconsin, the Mississippi Thunder Speedway for the USMTS Modifieds. Jake O'Neill was your winner. The USRA Limited Late Models went to Dylan Kromschrader. Farmer City, Illinois, the Mars Dirt Car Series, 10,000 win for the UMP Late Models. Mike Spatola picked up the win. In Maryville, Tennessee, the Smoky Mountain Speedway for the World of Outlaw Case Construction Late Models, 10,000 win. That went to Jimmy Owens. Night number 2 in Alger, Washington for the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. Sheldon Howdenchild was your winner then. Last night at Plymouth, the annual Sheboygan County Fair for the IRA 410 Sprints. Scotty Thiel made it 2 for 2, picking up the win. Really good feature. I was there last night. The last 7 laps were pretty exciting. Several slide jobs exchanged between him and Zach Hampton. And then the ageless wonder.
Where can you go where the beer is cold and friendship is forever? Pabst is the place that's in our hearts where we can be together.
Pabst Blue Ribbon. This is the place.
It's the simple things that are oh so marvelous with rich, creamy, non-dairy Planet Oat oat milk. Like the first cup of coffee or a bowl of cereal. That's pretty marvelous. Planet Oat. Rich, creamy, non-dairy oat milk. Oh, what a planet.
Steve Meyer ended up finishing second. For a minute there, I thought he was going to win. He's the oldest guy in the field, he was telling me last night, which was his birthday. He wouldn't tell me his exact age, but you can kind of figure it out. And he finished second. Pretty happy group there. In the MSA 360 Sprints, Brandon McMullen continued his domination. That's 4 wins in a row for him in the MSA 360 Sprints as he picked up the win. Francis Crick last night, the 141 Speedway in the Modifieds. Donnie Scheffler was your winner. Stock Cars, Brandon Sharapata, and Grand Nationals was Sean Schmidt. Shawano, their season finale. In the late models, Nick Anvelink was your winner. Ron Berna is the champion. In the IMCA Modifieds, Marcus Yari was your feature winner. Stock Cars, Dylan Stengy. Up in Sturgeon Bay at the Hill Raceway, the IMCA Stock Car feature winner there was Brett Wenzel. Wilmot last night for the IRA Wingless Sprints, Chris Klemko was your feature winner. In the Modifieds, Nick Simons. Up in Eagle River, they had the first ever big Labor Day spectacular on a Saturday night. Had a whole bunch of cars there. In the limited late models, Eric Pember, who was a long time Wissota late model regular, has a limited late model now. He picked up the win there. And they paid $2,200 to win for the Grand Nationals last night. I think they got 27 of them to show up there. Chase Solomon took the big money. In the IMSTA Stock Cars, it was Devin Snellenberger. Snellenberger's a name we haven't said in a while. He's still out there. Rice Lake last night, the Wissota Modifieds, Adam Hensel. Sycamore, Illinois for the Badger Midgets, Adam Taylor was your winner. Deer Creek Raceway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, the USMTS Modifieds, Jim Chisholm was your winner. Boone, Iowa. It was the prelude to the Super Nationals. Next week is their big Super Nationals. This was a regular program last night as a prelude. Tim Ward won in the IMCA Modifieds. Lucas Lambries from around here, he finished 5th. Mike Mullins 7th. Jared Seifert was 10th. 139 cars showed up for that prelude race last night for the Modifieds. Same thing for the stock cars. Chase Hollins was your winner. Mike Mullen had a stock car there. He finished 11th. He was a top finishing Wisconsin guy. 134 of them showed up last night in the stock cars for the prelude. Next week, the numbers will probably be staggering. You'll be in the 300s probably for each one of those for the big Super Nationals next weekend. Fairbury, Illinois last night, 10,000 win for the UMP late models. Bobby Pierce was your winner. They did the same for the Modifieds. Another 10,000 win. Kyle Strickler was your winner. And the final race up in Alger, Washington, night 3 for the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. David Gravel picked up the win there last night. And that is everything we have for this week.
I don't have anywhere near as many results as you have, Brian, but of course I mostly stick around the state of Wisconsin. Starting Thursday night at Wisconsin International Raceway in the super late models. This is a name that I don't recall before. Mike Anthony won the super late model race. We've been doing this for a while, giving Thursday winners at WIR, and I don't remember that. So it's more than likely a first timer. Congratulations. Dalton, go ahead.
He's raced to Kaukauna quite a bit, the 50 car. He's been around every week.
All right. Has he won before?
I think before. It isn't very often, but I think he's won before.
All right. Okay. I'll trust you on that one. Congratulations to Dalton Zier, who won the track championship up at WIR. In the late models, Brent Strelka was your winner, and the championship went to Brian Monday. Friday night at Tomah, Wisconsin, they had their late model Triple Crown third and final round. Mike Litchfeld was the winner, and Jesse Bernhagen won the championship at Tomah. Last night at Dells Raceway Park, it was the second annual Jim Sauter Classic. Dan Margetta, you were there, and you saw kind of a blowout, didn't you?
Wow, boy, Gabe Summers had him covered. I mean, I thought he was out front early. I thought he was going to burn his stuff up, and they'd come back and catch him in the end because Ty Majeski, Casey Johnson, Johnny Sauter, Austin Nason, they were all some pretty big names behind him. But no, Gabe had him covered all night, and he was the guy, and he won that race. I want to say really going away because some cautions kept it close, but they had nothing for Gabe last night.
They didn't. And when he was interviewed afterwards, you think he might have mentioned that the guy that takes care of his car is his crew chief, keeps it at his shop, and makes sure it's ready every week is Travis Sauter, Jim Sauter's grandson, which I think is kind of a big deal. So kind of a nice thing to have happen there. Congratulations to Gabe Summer. In the Midwest Truck Series, Cody Hubred won it. And in the 602 late models, Charlie Bates held off Dennis Prunty in that one.
They were all kind of first-time winners. Cody was the first-time winner in the trucks, but Charlie Bates as well. I mean, they were all pretty excited. I think they might have scored their first victories last night at the Dells, so it was
pretty cool.
All three winners are happy.
Yeah, you bet. At Jefferson, Laney Osborne won in the late models. At Marsh, go ahead.
That's another first-time winner. She's like 15. She came from the Bandoleros.
Wow. Really? There's another name that I don't remember saying before, and geez, all these people, first timers. Oh my! Well, either way, congratulations. At Marshfield, it was the Jim Langreck Memorial, and they had twin features. John Beal won one, Mark Eswine won the other one, and neither one of them is a first-time winner. And pretty cool all the way around. Now the CRA Jegs All-Stars Tour ran at Winchester, Indiana, and Slingers, Wisconsin's own Nick Egan won the race out there. Dan, he's the point leader in that thing, isn't he?
Yes, that's pretty cool to see at Winchester. I think William Sawalich was in that race too. I have to see what happened to him, but Winchester's a good place to win at. That's not exactly a kiddie playground. I mean, that's a tough place to get out there and take it on. And I think it's his first Jegs win.
In the Cars Tour, they ran at North Wilkesboro. There were 20,000 people in attendance to see Carson Quapple win that thing, and he just had a superior race car. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the fact that he raced there is more than likely what made sure it was full attendance. He ended up third, and congratulations.
Think about this. Wilkesboro, they're doing some renovation. It's not completely fixed yet. I mean, there's 20,000 people. I don't think the track even had running water, to be honest with you. I mean, it's that kind of a deal. But so many people showed up to watch a short track race. Now, don't tell me short track racing's dead.
It's pretty cool. Racing is on its way back. Last week at Slinger Speedway, by now you remember, it rained like a son of a gun last week. Oh, my God, it was crazy coming home. People pulling off the freeway. It was raining so hard. Tonight, however, we have our Super Late Model Track Championship, a 100-lap feature for the Super Lates, and fireworks. It's all fireworks. Labor Day night at Slinger Speedway. We'll be right back.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
The Aaron's Art on Wheels Vintage Weekend returns to Wisconsin's Road America and Elkhart Lake September 16th through the 18th. This vintage race draws more than 300 vintage and historic race cars across 11 groups to run over this 3-day event. This year will also feature the women of motorsports. Make it an outdoor family weekend with camping on site. Children under 16 get in free with paying adult. Get your tickets now at roadamerica.com. Road America, America's National Park of Speed.
The season finale at the Fair Park in Plymouth is coming on Saturday, September 24th. The annual Sprintacular features a high-powered IRA 410 sprint cars, the Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA 360s, the Wingless Sprints, and the Lightning Sprints. 4 divisions of sprint cars in one action-packed night of racing. That is the September Sprintacular, Saturday, September 24th at the Fair Park in Plymouth. On-track action at 5 o'clock. We'll see you there.
This week on NASCAR Live, we set the stage for the playoffs.
If we're concerned about something, Logano's behind the wheel. It seems like he always gets it done for us. He's got a lot of confidence in what that driver can do when it's crunch time. We know he's got the speed. We know he's kind of like the 9 car of Chase Elliott. I'm not going to say he's super hot, but he's hot.
There's much more waiting for you each week on NASCAR Live.
Every Tuesday night at 6 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
And welcome back to LTN. You know, it's pretty close in the points at Slinger for the super late models. We've got a couple of first-timers up there trying to win their first championship. R.J. Braun, who certainly has come a long way in a short amount of time, is the point leader by just a couple of points over super late model rookie Jacob Nottestad, who's trying to win the national championship for the Kawicki program at the same time. Alex Prunty is within shouting distance. It's probably going to be one of those 3 drivers tonight at Slinger Speedway. All of them young guys and fun to watch, that's for sure. Gentlemen, we're getting ready for the playoffs. We start eliminating drivers after the first 3 race round. And I got some names I put on my list to be eliminated that are probably not going to agree with the guys that you have on your list. Who do you think are the guys that are out?
I got the 3, 48, 94, 99, and 2.
99 and 2. Oh, so basically
Same 4
the last
that
are on the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th seeds right now. Okay. All right. That's Ed. What do you think, Dan?
Close to that, Ed. I've got the 2 being out, the 3 being out. I've got the 48 too. He hasn't been running well, and it's a contract year. I'm surprised they haven't stepped that up. And I got, as much as I hate to say it, I like the guys. I have Chase Briscoe, and the 14 is out. I just think the 99 Trackhouse team is just running too good overall to let him go in the first round.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I got the exact same thing. I got Austin Dillon out, Austin Cindric out, Alex Bowman out, and Chase Briscoe. I hate to say it too, but Chase Briscoe, they just haven't done enough, and the tracks that we're running here just aren't quite his type. So unfortunately, I see him out.
You guys are going to totally disagree with my 4, and they're not the same as yours, that's for sure. I agree that Austin Dillon is out. I think that's one we all agree on. And also I think that Cindric is going to be gone. But I am not sold that Kevin Harvick has turned his season around, and I think he goes in the first round. He's going to be gone.
Wow.
Along with Bell. I'm sorry. I'm not sold on that guy from top to bottom. I think he's a good driver when he's in an open wheel car, and I think he's overrated in a stock car, and I think he's going to be gone. So there you go. We'll see how wrong I am. I usually am.
And I'll take 22 to win today.
22 to win. All right. Let's see. Dan?
I'm going to go with the 5, Kyle Larson.
Boy, he does want to win at this track, doesn't he? All right. Brian?
I'm also going with the 22 to win today.
You guys, again, you're going to think I'm whacked out because I'm going to take a guy not in the top 16 in the points. I'm going with Martin Truex to win it.
Wow. That was my other pick. 5 and 19 seem to be the best so far this weekend.
Yeah, well, they're just picks, and we know how good I am at making picks. I don't think I picked one right all year.
How about your final 4? We got those yet?
Boy, that's another whole story. Are we going to do it now? I suppose we should, huh?
Yeah.
Boy. All right. All four of us are going to have Chase on there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, because and I think all four of us are going to have Kyle Larson on there, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So the amount is the question is who else gets on the list?
I have Denny Hamlin, and I have the guy with the biggest target on his back. I think he's going to use it for motivation, Ross Chastain.
Wow.
Oh, all right. Ed?
Chase Elliott. I got Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
And Denny Hamlin. He's got to win a title sooner or later.
I like him trying and not making it. And who's your other one?
24. William Byron.
All right.
Wow.
That's my third pick. Yeah, Brian, you go ahead.
I got the 9, the 5, the 11. Those are the same three that were there last year. And then I got Joey Logano, the 22. His confidence level seems awfully high, and Penske's due to be back there. And the press conference and the preliminary events at the convention center downtown could be really entertaining with him there.
Well, I agree with Ed's pick of putting that 24 car in the Final Four, and I agree with Dan's pick of putting the 1 car in the Final Four. So 1, 5, 9, and 24 are my Final Four. Yeah, but we're not real good at this.
No,
not
at all.
Yeah, so well, pick your own picks. Don't base anything on what we've been telling you. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. The playoffs get underway. Remember, green flags at 5:19. But of course, Dan and I will be at the Slinger Speedway for the track championships for the super late models. A 100 lapper and fireworks tonight. And we
fireworks.
Race cars have doors, even if they do climb in through the windows. Let's Talk NASCAR is produced and directed by Dangerous Dan Margetta. Our in-house engineer, website coordinator, and king of the knobs is Matt Hangover Losi. For all of us, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week, everybody.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations via Skype. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.
I'm Sawyer. And I'm Shannon. Together, we're Twin Stunts, the only twin motorcycle freestyle show in the world. We are born and raised in Wisconsin, so we want all our fellow cheeseheads to know that even though we clutch it up, hit 12, and drift in our show, we would never do it on the open road. And there's another thing we would never do on the road. Drive drunk. Drive sober or get pulled over. Together, we can save lives. Learn more at zeroinwisconsin.gov. Wisconsin DOT.